Welcome, welcome Amitava Bhattacharya. This is Dipankar Krishnavish. We welcome you for yet another episode of COVID Cares, initiative by Heartcrafted Foundation. This foundation works with underprivileged, underserved women of Northeast, essentially try to help them to build a better livelihood. COVID Care is a series which we are doing to fundamentally showcase the extraordinary efforts of some people who have gone out of their way to serve others during the COVID and lockdowns. We all know that when the lockdown was announced, all of us, including myself, were totally surprised to start with, then panicked. Then we started thinking about our daily livelihood, our support system, where from the supplies will come. But there was a very large number of people who are not like us, who are underserved, as we may say, started struggling with much more fundamental things like where is the money, where is the cash, where is the food, where is the healthcare if I need some support. Lot of people, lot of good Samaritans went out of their way to help them in whichever way they can. But still, large part of the stories which we have seen in the media so far is about the urban poor, the migrants, the people who got stuck at their homes. But largely the rural India, where around 68% of the people of India are staying and large part of the poor are staying, we have not really heard what happened to them. So today we are talking to one of them who had been working for decades now with the underserved people and trying to make their life better. We are talking to Amitava. So Amitava, before we start, I will just give a very small introduction of yours. I know that your introduction will be very difficult to capture in a paragraph or two. You are a hero for many of us, including myself. But nevertheless, Amitava is the founder and full-time director of banglanatak.com. He's an engineer from IIT Kharagpur and a Gurukul Chevening scholar of leadership and excellence from London School of Economics. He has over 31 years of global work experience. He has won the Times Now Award, Amazing Indian Award in 2013 and Tiger Award in 2014. If my memory serves right, he was also one of the finalists of Indian of the Year, which many years back Times of India did. We can correct me here. Before I go to Amitava, let me tell you that he is one of the rare individuals who, this is my view. He may feel a little embarrassed to hear about it, but he took this life of joining IT after IIT, moved to Silicon Valley, and then at some point of time, because of his personal calling, created this organization and also involved his family. His wife is a very active participant there and done innumerable interventions affecting, if I'm not mistaken, millions of lives. But today, Amitava, I'd like to hear from you specifically in the context of Bangla Natak and even otherwise your social engagement. When this lockdown happened, you are one who was not caught by surprise because you know the reality. But I'm sure, when you got caught in your house and at 8 o'clock in the night, first thing must have come, I'm sure, is that, what will happen to these people whom you are working with, who are so much at the margin? So what was your reaction? How did you look at it? And how did you, started moving is, if I may say, my first question. Yeah.
Thank you, Dipankar, for your kind introduction and so many good words. I don't know whether I qualify for this, but I will at least like to honor and justify your so nice words about me. Firstly, let me tell you your answer in a very interesting thing. I was visiting the deserts of Rajasthan when the lockdown was announced. Rajasthan on 19th of March, I was meeting Jaisalmer DM after coming back from the field in Jaisalmer desert, a village called Barna and Janra. So after Barna and Janra, I just came there to meet him, and then I thought I will go to Hamita, another very interesting village. And so I was meeting, but I was waiting. I was surprised that, 20 minutes I'm waiting, whereas I called him up, his PA gave me a time, and I know this man, Namit Mehta, was a very nice man. I was a little surprised, but I saw many cars and other things are coming in. So I was not very sure what's happening. So Nomit then quickly called me up in his conference room and said, "Boss, I'm in a problem." I said, "What happened?" He said, "It's lockdown." So I said, "What?" He said, "Lockdown." Now, I never heard this term before. So I said, "What does that mean?" So he says, "Everything is closed. So you need to go out immediately." I said, "No, I'm supposed to go to Bikaner because Bikaner village is, my visit is there." He said, "No, you need to rush back." So I came out. I spoke to a tea shop because I still believe in the tea shop news. And the tea shop said, "Saab, ghar jaiye." So everything, sab kuch band ho raha hai. So before Namit told me, actually the tea shop knew. So hearing this, I immediately rushed to Jaisalmer airport. I came back to Calcutta on 19th. But two of my colleagues stayed back. I mean, they could not make it to Jaisalmer in an hour's time. And then came 22nd, when the Janta curfew was announced, and 24th onwards is a lockdown. 24th, the Prime Minister announced lockdown. So in between that gap of 23rd, all our colleagues who were on field, I had to bring back everybody, be it from Jalpaiguri, Jharkhand, Goa, Rajasthan, and different parts of Bengal. And one guy who was in Bankura could not get anything, so he got stuck up there till the last moment. He managed a packed up bus and he almost just slipped through and came to Calcutta. So yes, lockdown was sudden and it created a tremendous problem without any notice or any preparation. That's the first thing. Second thing, it's good that you want to know about rural India. I must mention something. I think rural India, the problems are a little different than urban India. Just to give you an example, by 7th of April, West Bengal villages got the ration. So whatever hue and cry, politics, whatever happened, but by 7th of April, everybody got their ration. In Rajasthan desert, it was by 27th April. Now, 22nd March to 27th April is quite a big window. So surviving them for that period was the most challenging part. Secondly, in West Bengal, as you know, I only work with the rural artist communities and almost 30,000 families. So I have a good figure, but I don't have a cross society view. I know only the artist communities and their villages. And of course the neighborhood. So, and the thing is almost same there in those villages. But in that West Bengal, another interesting thing, West Bengal government has a scheme called Lok Prashar Prakalp, where basically they give monthly 1,000 rupees to all artists, performing artists, not to handicraft. And performing and visual artists, because visual Patachitra is also performing because they sing songs.
Yeah.
So that money was doubled in April and March. So 2,000 was given to them. Now that was a big rescue. Whereas in Rajasthan, there was nothing. Then another important thing I must mention is that both state and central governments, and central government, that 500 rupees to each woman reached everybody by end of April. So that's also a good thing. Civil society across India actually came forward in supporting the communities tremendously. Tremendously, unbelievable. And because government support actually is only about rice and dal. And in case of Rajasthan, it's only the gehu. And how about oil? How about sugar? You know, the basic things were supported by the civil society in many states. Less in Rajasthan. Somehow desert communities are not much connected to that because they are in Rajasthan also, there are a lot of caste issues. But here in Bengal and in many other states, it was very, very nicely supported by them. Another important thing, elected representatives and the local influencers, they came forward in each and every place and supported with additional vegetables to each of these families. So that is also a very, very nice gesture I have seen from across socio-political structure of the society. So this part I add. So if you really think of rural India, there is no rent, there is no electricity bill. So keeping that in mind and free ration and that 500,000 rupees. So I will not say they were financially they were a lot of distress. No, that's not reality. But where does the distress come? The stress come from. The stress comes from a different angle. The complete uncertainty, the fear. How is tomorrow? Because unlike the urban India, the rural India does not have the habit of saving. If they earn, just to give an example, these artist communities back in 2004, they were earning anything between 500 to 700. And now that earning has gone up anything between 7,000 to 75,000 per month. So it's a huge jump. And 7,000 to 7,000, 75,000, no way they are poor in Indian standards. No way. Because on top of that, they get free ration, electricity, this, that, and continuous government schemes are available. But what happens if they get that 75,000? They spend each and every money to do their house.
Okay.
Because the basic things were not there. So they didn't have any savings. So they poured all the money in building the hard infrastructure. And that's why they were in distress. I mean, this is one thing that I must mention. Whereas in Rajasthan, almost there are, out of 1,500 artists that we work with, let's say out of 900 musicians, I will say around 400 musicians travel more than 30 times abroad. They're super. But this uncertainty is tremendous because they are the caste musician, Langa and Mangnya, and they're dependent on Jajman. Jajman is patron. So they go there to serve as a music service, and against that they get payment. And because the Jajmani was stopped, because they can't move out. So mentally they got very upset. What to do now? So this uncertainty was a big issue. Coming to handicraft, I will mention one thing. Handicraft, what happened, if you look at March end, March middle, actually Government of India announced the cancellation of Holi festival, which was scheduled on 7th, 8th, 9th or something like that. So Shantiniketan Dole was cancelled. And many of the festivals, gatherings were cancelled by government. And that is okay, they have cancelled. But then onwards, actually the local market time, all the local festivals are actually from 15th March onwards till about 2nd or 1st week of July. So thus, people who are dependent on the local festivals for their market, both performing and handicraft, they are finished. That market is completely zero, if not minus. And second important is that tourism overall ends around March 1st week. And we did not lose our tourism market this year. Like Europe. Europe lost their tourism market, which is their summer. But we did not lose because our summer is not tourism market at all. Right. And our winter is tourism market. So, and the tourism has a very significant impact on both performing artists and handicraft artists across India. Because this tourist, not necessarily tourism is international. Tourism is international, national, domestic, local, everybody. All the movement and this happens. But the local festivals, ritual-based festivals, let's say Novoborsho, that's 14th April. So the first April, the first thing of the Boishak. Secondly, all the Eid and all these festivals of celebrations are in the summer. Summer in rural India is basically time of festival. People buy. So that is the time, that is lost. But external for the urban India and the international world, that market actually got completed till March. So financial distress, yes, but not that much. Uncertainty, tremendous.
No, I will come back and ask you about, because you are so entrenched in the rural India, I'm sure you have been reached out by the government agencies and others to reach, identify, because, the resources were very limited. But I'll come to that question later. But just to build on this point, which you said, that, there is a significant amount of income would have happened in the festival season in the October, November, which seemed to be unlikely, definitely not for Durga Puja for sure. Top of that, art and whatever, the artisans which you are supporting, all said and done is a discretionary spend, right? People will spend only when they get their basics. And on the top of that, these people coming back, maybe some of them will go back, but definitely they are coming back and pushing putting economic load on the family, and they may not be skilled to work in they might have been a security guard in Bangalore. He can go and start farming. Even if he farms, what will it generate? So is there you see a significant window of distress? And, given that you are also, connected and I will not say responsible, but there is expectation that, you'll be standing with them. So how are you sort of gearing up if you see that it will be there for another 9-12 months? What is that you're doing?
Before I answer this, let me go back 6 months back, and then I will come to this, because then you will understand the journey of how we are trying to be with them.
Mm-hmm.
March, around 25th, I have started thinking, 24th, honestly, after the guys came back. Because firstly, till 24th, I was very, very tensed about bringing the people back. 24th onwards, I started thinking what to do, how to do with these people. They are all stuck up. So, 29th March onwards, we started Facebook Live for all the musicians and dancers. And for every performance, we paid 1,500 rupees to each artist. And nobody paid me to pay them. But this I thought is that, this is the time that you can't think of whether you will break your savings or not. Here the issue is, if people don't survive, then on what you are going to work.
Right.
And my entire effort might go down zero. So, and it's 20 years of full life. It's not just a job. So, 21st, 29th March onwards, we started Facebook Live. People were all at home. Everybody started. An objective was very simple, that it creates two ways. One is three ways, actually. One is it creates an opportunity for an artist to perform. Secondly, and in a new platform, digital, because it's not easy that in front of you there is no audience.
Audience, yeah.
And secondly, Facebook Live is not something everybody is aware of. In Rajasthan, nobody. But the local young people, we trained them, and that happened.
Mm-hmm.
So everywhere, Facebook Live we started, and we gave every day. So we have given that name as Lockdown Music at Musical.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a very good start, I will say, because that engaged people. Because, over the time I realized, when I first left IT and joined 20 years back, I thought livelihood means income, economic improvement. But then later on, after working, I realized, no, livelihood means engagement. Economic things come much later. It is a nice thing, but that's not most important. Most important is engagement. So keeping that in mind, my realization, my experience, I decided that we will engage them. 1,500 is not a crore. It's not even 10,000. But more than that, it is the engagement. So every artist knows, tomorrow I have a show. I have a show day after. So they keep on rehearsing. You know, that's a very, very important part. And singular, because a person. Later on, around from Rajasthan, it was easy, desert, so 3 people were there always. But here in Bengal, people could not move, so they were mostly 1 or 2. So that way. So that is number 1. And also it created artists for an opportunity, and secondly, it created the audience to know them directly. And in every post, we wrote their telephone number and everything, so the direct linkage happens. And thirdly, many people asked me, can we donate to you? I said, no, not to us. We have not accepted any donation in 20 years. So you need to donate to the individual if you wish. And if you ask, if you require, please give us your inbox. We will be happy to share the account ID, their bank ID, bank account number. So when this started in 29th. Secondly, parallelly, what I started giving a call to all my Kharagpur batchmates and to my close friends. The boss situation is getting tensed, because first 3 weeks, I thought it's matter of 3 weeks. But then when I saw that it's a never-ending process, and I said that whatever you can donate. So somebody said 12,000, somebody said 10 lakhs. What a variation. And total 49 lakhs were collected. And not a single money to our account, but whoever says 12,000, I gave 1 account number. If somebody says 10 lakhs, I gave them 42 account numbers. But I clearly said, overall, I'm keeping 800 to 1,500 per family on an average. And keeping that way, I'm giving it to the leaders because we have been working, we trust them, we know them, and they are really honest. So you can pay them. But imagine the trouble that people went through, the friend circuit, because it's not easy to transfer 1 lakh rupees to 5 accounts, because that means you have to add 5, give it to 5. And then there was another question of many people misbehave with that account number also, that, you know, they don't know them. So that's why it was again a trust building exercise. That boss, you can be rest assured that, you know, because somebody from Dubai is paying or somebody from America, and they are CEOs. So they say, boss, I will give it to you, you give it to. I said, no. So finally we achieved that. So that's the second part. I think that helped them to big time, big time. Third important point I will mention, in Rajasthan, we developed a lot of Zoom calls and meetings. So we actually cultivated a culture of meetings, that the gurus, the youngs, the kids start meetings among themselves. And for every meeting, we paid them little. The idea is, come and meet in Zoom. Whom you are meeting with your other counterparts. So rather, don't sit down. Just don't think I'm under lockdown. So that way, the Mir living in Pugal is the border in Bikaner with Pakistan. And Mir said a beautiful thing, Basu Khan Mir. He said, when unlock started, a press asked him, how did you find the lockdown? How did you survive? He said, thanks to Bangla Natuk, I didn't even understand. I had so much of work that there was lockdown. Now, what was this work? So I told them, make family chart. Because we were a traditional musician, hereditary. Make your family chart. We taught them over Zoom. So every village made their village map, their artist family chart, and we also did a Zoom on context and content. Context and content, let me give an example. Let's say when Tagore lost his son, Tagore actually wrote a beautiful song, Aaj Josna Rate Shobai Geche Bone. But many people, even in their birthday, probably sing this song without knowing the content and without knowing the context of the song. So we have started telling them from the gurus that you guys talk about the context and the content. And that we have done in Bengal, because Bengal we have been working for a long time. And that we started in Rajasthan, and that helped big time. So through the Guru Shishya Parampara, technical training actually happened through Zoom. So then when this was going on, I decided that we have to do something more. I approached UNESCO. You may be aware that because of our work, UNESCO has given us the international advisory status as well as we are the national partner. So I approached UNESCO, and UNESCO immediately agreed to support me on two things. I said that people are sitting idle, unlocking started, I am in Rajasthan field. Allow three things. One is support a little bit. We have identified a fantastic sound designer, sound recordist, young sound recordist. His name is Dodo. He's an extremely costly guy, but he has agreed for a small money. And I said that I want to bring him and do the recording, because in Rajasthan musicians, rural musicians, they're excellent. But even a Padma Shri, Anwar Khan, he doesn't have the right for his own songs, because the urban elites are too greedy, unfortunately. And so we decided that we will work on the haq, the rights. So we recorded 292 songs and released a pen drive and 12 CDs. And these 12 CDs, we have mentioned one thing everywhere: haq kalakar ki hai, adhikar kalakar. And we have clearly said that you can do copy, you can use it, but as long as non-commercial, you have to give their names and numbers. And as the moment is commercial, you have to share the money with them. Clear, period. But haq kalakar. So Padma Shri Anwar Khan will never give you 500 rupees to get his music. No, let that stop. That is one part. Number two, what we did, we also used this time to do a film on every village, because filming got allowed, if you recall, from the third lockdown, unlock, second or third unlock. So we started doing filming in Rajasthan. In Bengal, what we did, I saw that, around 1,500 people I can reach out. And everywhere, 10, 15 people together in their nearby village, they can do their own training. So we started that. UNESCO supported me on all these three things. And that's a great support. So overall, I will say about 1.1 crore cash and kind support was given by outside. And that's a very, very essential thing for which I'm so happy all artists are live and kicking. And second important part is that the moment Unlock started, immediately I rushed. I sent my team. I also went to a few of the villages, because everybody is not that fearless. But few of us, even in my own team, all are not fearless. So many of who, and I did not force anyone. I said, whoever wants to come with me. So first one, I took everybody. Second one, I sent them different places. So that way we made every village ready with mask, thermal gun, sanitization techniques, everything. So I'm again very happy to share with you that out of the 30,000, thank God, touch wood, they are away from COVID even now. So, and they are all ready.
Yeah. Absolutely zero, that's amazing.
Absolutely zero. And with this background, now coming to what ahead. Now, because the artists are fully back in the training, they are getting money, and this, and they have started performing. So they are back in action. They have created new products. We have created workshops, and soon, I must thank the owner that, that guy, fabulous, must be. And that helped. And then all the films and everything ready. So resilient communities. I think our communities are quite resilient now. And but positive thinking is very important. And the challenge, as you mentioned correctly, is that people are not buying. And thus, I've done a survey where we see that, it's nothing. 0.1% people are buying. So that's a big, big area of concern. But I'm confident that people are tired of sitting down at home. So they want to go out. So we have to give them the space, the isolated space, the new normal space. And I think rural is the new mantra. So if I'm not mistaken, I will not say 9 months. I will say 2 months, 3 months. Even Durga Puja, I've decided we will host it at Tepantor, a theater village in, we have never done Durga Puja. I'm not religious at all. I belong to a different, another class. But here we have taken the Durga Puja as an example that, it's a celebration. So we are doing it at a 4-acre campus. I mean, we are not doing it, the 22 boys and the theatre group, but we are supporting them. We have also decided to promote it. And I'm so happy that out of 180 space, they have decided they will only do 60 guests. And 4 acres, 60 guests. I mean, come on, enough. And secondly, the pricing they have kept very, very nominal. 7,500 for entire puja, stay, food, festival. And thirdly, when the day I launched that in the Facebook, 14 reservations done out of 60. So that clearly shows people want to go out.
Right.
And when people want to go out, I'm saying that, you know, we will overcome this in 3-4 months' time.
That's fantastic. And now you will also integrate in a much bigger way the online in your activity going forward. Now that, you know, people have learned how to do Zoom and this and that, will it be there?
Handicraft, no, because, you know, online
Not
handicraft,
but the other performing arts like musicians, dance, will you?
monetizing that performance over digital is a difficult thing. Rather, here in this perspective, I will say urban folk artists are facing more problem. Because if you look at it socially, structurally, poor can ask for money. Middle class cannot ask for money. So the urban folk artists, they are in deep shit. So I'm also in touch with them. And I'm trying to help them in my own way, made them mentors in many of the training programs because they're trained. And so, but that's very, I mean, that we cannot do numbers like 30,000 or something. There are not 30,000 people, maybe 100 good people, but we have used around 12, 13 of them. But I think the monetizing digital thing is not easy because I'm following all the digital concerts. The money flow is very, very less. So I think that's a big challenge. If you look at European world, Denmark, Germany, government has come forward big way in supporting the artist communities. And even they said if you travel international, entire travel supported by us. That's a big thing. We will support your fees, we will support your travel. But here, obviously, there is no art council in India,
Right.
not in the States. So it's a challenge, but digital meeting, I mean, see, entire thing I had to pay, right? And many of the concerts even now are going on where the artists are being approached. They are not paying, unfortunately. And artists are not greedy. They are not demanding, give me this. No. Artist communities sing because they love to sing. They love to dance. And I think it is also responsibility of the people here. Whereas I must also mention that civil society, common man has shown a lot of responsibility in supporting them with rice, dal and thing. But rice and dal is not life for all. It's not life for at all. So I think that's something. Amphan, I must mention Amphan, May 28th, with that date. I saw that, you know, how Sundarban, because I was very worried. We have 900 artists on Sundarban. One of the Bhattacharya artists and maestro, Saurabh Moni, he lives in Jogeshganj. So I talk to Saurabh, and Saurabh, even now he stayed back there and he's doing many things. One is supplying with the what is that called?
Tarpaulin.
Tarpaulin. With the tarpaulin. Secondly, giving them baby food, this, that. That is the short-term relief. But the more important thing that he has done, one is cleaning of the ponds to save them from the that salty water coming in. And that is a fantastic work, which actually saved all the fish. And thirdly, what he has done, he has created a nursery of mangrove. And so all this time he has done that. And now he's teaching Bhattacharya. Now we have supported him in our best possible way. I have also linked my friends and other people, and they have supported him. So I'm very, very happy that individuals, civil society, they have come forward in a big way. There is a guy called Puranjan, who is a hotel owner and a very responsible chap back in Goshaba. He has done marvelous. He has taken a boat and traveled to all the islands, and he has supported them with all the materials. Then there is a lady called Mollika, and she's a Shola artist, and she has done the similar work in her area. So I think individual civil society are very, very. Jadavpur community, Jadavpur students, alumni, they have supported in many places. College Street books have been damaged completely. So there are also many people, including a gentleman called Amitava Bhattacharya, tries level based. So I think quite a good number of efforts by, as you mentioned, Good Samaritans. I will even say it's probably, it can be debated whether government or people who supported more.
So, on that, I was asking that, initially, obviously, government was not able to cope up. Let's
Sorry, Dipankar, I can't hear you. 1 minute. Say something.
yeah, hello, hello, hello,
Hello, say something. Hello, hello.
hello. Can you hear me?
Hello. I can.
Okay,
I can.
okay.
No.
No, can you hear me now?
Just a moment. Just a moment.
Look at the chat.
Hello. Hello.
I can hear you.
Just say hello. Hello.
Hello, 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 hello. What happened?
Just a moment. Hey, Rishi. Rishi, kindly check our sound. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I just had maybe just one or two last question. One is, of course, the government obviously initially was, couldn't do much, but have they geared up now? Do you see things have become better? And this is a perspective, ultimately it's the people and government, we're all together. So do you see that, is it going to something, the civil society has to continue to support whichever way or government is gearing up? And second, I would like to know from you, you also have your employees who are obviously worried, for the basic, with the job loss, salary loss, security, travel. So how did you manage that part? Because that motivation was a very very challenging part, and of course financially also it must have been challenging for you. I understand, for everybody, and I'm sure it is for you also to fulfill the commitments. So these are the two, possibly the last questions. Is government gearing up, and your experience or your work with your employees?
Um, Let me take the first question first. Uh, Government is a very generic word. I think we need to see individually, state-wise, it need to be seen.
Mhm.
Because unfortunately, very unfortunately, our country is divided in confusion, confusion, and confusion. I think we are missing out on the priorities completely. Somebody said government is by people, for people, of people. Unfortunately, I don't see that at all in many of the cases. That is the hard reality. And the divide and rule policy worked for British. It is an attempt that I am seeing many of the governments are taking. It is ridiculous, short term, and I think history must teach all of them that this does not last. So this is quite a crooked way of handling people, and unfortunately, people forget that even Indira lost and was jailed. Secondly, if I look at the schemes, the other than the Jandhan, no central scheme is reaching. That is the one part. The state schemes are working much better. Of course, it's a big country. Decentralization is the key. So that is working good. As far as the corona situation is concerned, I'm very happy that both governments are trying their level best. And state governments and central government, here both the governments are actually trying their level best. But here there is a significant gap. They are using police and doctors and medical researchers as their communication people. That is a complete mistake. It is not a political issue, not a prosecution issue, not a fear issue. It is a development issue. And development communication was never done in the world by medical experts. Doctors are not the best of communicators. If you read their handwriting, you will think it's all over, that you are dead. So, and police, people have lost their trust on police. So keeping these realities in mind, I think it's a big mistake both governments have done. And they should have brought in public health communication experts. End of the day, we have to remember, pulse polio was eradicated in India just few years back. And we were part of 10 years of fight with Government of India Health and UNICEF as national partner, ground partner. So we have seen how stigma, how myths were addressed, and how this is the challenge we handled. Right. And excellent policy. We have to also remember India faced HIV and how HIV issue was addressed successfully and India overcame that. Thirdly is that the swine flu. I remember how the swine flu, they involved all the multinational agencies and how it was, we were given the responsibility for entire Eastern India. So how that was done. So these are mistakes that, here none of the organization or experts were brought in, rather few bureaucrats and few police and few political leaders, and sometimes with the Chela politicians, with the Chela Bollywood stars, they wanted to overcome this. I think that's a bloody mistake. And second important is that the media is completely sold. So this is another big problem, and they are selling fears. And that doesn't happen. When the country is looking at these big issues, that time they are talking about Kangana, this, that, Ria. I mean, they are too much, because they are just doing as per their Prabhus want them to say. So this doesn't work in life. I mean, this is ridiculous. So government, yes and no. I wish government could be a little more responsible and let people like Bhushan talk about it. I mean, this is something is my always take. And second important point is that, as you mentioned, that, how did we survive? I mean, I don't know whether we have survived or not. We have survived till date. See, from the day one, I have been telling people, in 2009, I learned the hard way. 2008, I got ill, big time. 2009, I realized that we need to have a savings. So slowly, I saved almost 5 months of salary. And we kept it. And this 5 months of salary savings helped us to survive till date. March, we did not cut any salary for anyone. April, we cut 20%. May, we cut 25%. And we divided May. Is that people who are, because I didn't know whether May will be locked down, but when April, that's April I went only 20%. But people who were in office around 10, 11, they got 100%. But they were, when we worked in May, I made it 25% and 90%. And then June, 100% salary for all. Because I was really hoping we'll open up, we will start work. And honestly, unlocking started. We started visiting fields. I need about 70 people. So done. And July reduced a little. I was a little worried. August had to keep 8 people at 0 LWP. Had to. And 25 people at 30% reduction. And rest at 10% reduction. So this is how we managed. And 4 of our colleagues resigned, and we have mutually accepted it because it was long pending from both sides. One started a handicraft business. Now we don't sell handicraft, and she wanted to. That's a different story. One getting married in Bombay. Again, I mean, these are okay. As far as HR and retention is concerned, we are very lucky. I have a fantastic team. People who joined me 20 years back are still there. So hire and fire has never been the structure of the organization, and it cannot work in this. Empathetic view and a systematic friendship and bonding. And my colleagues call it, it's a tribe. And I, as a tribal leader, tribe leader, I feel I'm equally responsible to my colleagues, my vendors. We have 0 accounts payable. We have little high accounts receivable. That is something I'm worried. So till September, we are surviving for sure. October, I'm depending on that. Hopefully it will come. And if that comes, I think we are through for the business. I'm not worried at all because our businesses are in the pipeline. The moment things open up, we will get it. And these days, we don't need to submit too many proposals. We sit at Anuasha Road small office and people from all over the world come and give business. Because we deliver, we have earned that credibility. So I think we have survived so far and hopefully we will survive more.
No, I'm sure. And you are a fighter even otherwise, as you mentioned also the personal fights which you had and the charisma. So any 1 or 2 stories you would like to say? You obviously always see, things which we definitely, I don't see, but even within that, any government officials, somebody whom you didn't know, or somebody who has done something, very touching during these times, like, I have personally come across one person who asked for food one day, and next day when not me, but the friend who was trying to get, he reached out, he said, don't give it to me, I already got my 2 days food, so give it to somebody else. So I'm sure you have had hundreds of such. So would you like to recount any of them, which in a way repose the faith in humanity in a poetic way, you might say?
Sure. I mean, 3 things I must mention. One is, as I was talking about my organization, I thought I must mention one thing, that because we did not have a single loan,
Mm-hmm.
and because we have that 6 months of salary savings, 5 months of salary savings which survived. So no loan is a big thing. So that is something I forgot to mention, but I think as you mentioned, this is for the audience which might take up. I think that's a very, very important part.
Mm-hmm.
And number 2, take tough decisions, but let it be empathetic decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Use it.
Mm-hmm.
Coming to your part, the story, yes, certainly. See, when our people and us, we were talking to all the artists, whether you need it, whether you need it, whether you need it. Not that we were waiting for their call. And we were in regular touch. Very interestingly, Gorbhanga, the village that we started working in 2004, the Fakir's village. Babu Fakir said, sir, we don't need that, need it right now, I'm okay, so give it to others. So Khoibar Fakir also mentioned the same thing. Ghulam Fakir, Babu took little, Babu never took, Khoibar took little later, but that is for the other neighbors. And Ghulam Fakir never took it till date. So this is something I must mention, yes. These are the artist communities. But amongst the government officials, I'm very, very impressed with the few bureaucrats in West Bengal. As individuals, they're super. And if I may consider, if I may actually mention honestly, few of them, I think they're the best of the lot in the world. Because I have seen quite a few people in my life, across level. They're fantastic. And whenever I said that, or I spoke to them, the words, the thing, and somebody, a Jharkhand lady had cancer and was coming for chemotherapy, and she needed to come, but it was completely locked down, no unlock or anything. It's April end, and that gentleman sitting here organized everything. A Jharkhand lady, and she came and did it and cross-checked and did everything. And he talked to the ADG traffic. He's also a very nice man. And he gave a pass, spoke to the Jharkhand counterpart. So exceptional human beings do exist. And for that, I think the world is a much better place. Amongst politicians also, I must also mention, few of the politicians were exceptionally, I would say, nice. One of the ladies who is an MP from Bengal, she kept a record, Facebook going, that any problem anyone has, reported when the migrants thing happened, and and we will try to. And I was following that. I was not commenting. I was following that. Any query comes, actually, she or her people are responding and talking to the telephone, solving it, and then later on the guy is saying after 10 days, Didi, we are back, and all these things. So that's individually she has been doing this. Another guy is fantastic in supplying vegetables to all the people. And so many good guys exist. Even in Rajasthan, I have seen one of the judgeman who was panchayat before, he came forward and suggested, and supported many of the communities later on. So people have shown extraordinary things to handle this extraordinary problem.
Yeah, and if you are saying it after so many years on the field, so obviously, they are really special. And I firmly believe that if we, the goodness which we displayed, if we can retain after COVID, or whenever we say that life is back to normal, world will be a much better place. I think world was always a good place, but we got hijacked by a lot of negative thoughts and negative people, and started thinking it has become very bad. So that is also another thing. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I just also mentioned, I forgot, recently I got a call from a big music director in Bollywood.
Okay.
And out of nothing. And he talked to me saying that, he wants to help people, the musicians across rural India. So how can it go and everything? So I suggested in my own way how he can do. But look at this. So people across society are coming forward. I'm confident that they were there. It has increased, and it will increase further.
Further, yes. That's true, because a lot of people also got exposed. They are not, for me, these migrant workers, let me tell you, I will not say that I never wanted to look at them, but I never got a chance to see them, that they are just behind my house, Now now you have visited them, now you know their problem, now you know that if they don't get money for 2 days, their kitchen is dry. Many people didn't even know. So they are not wild people, they are just unaware. So we'll end at that, hopeful note. And thank you again for taking time. You are a hero for many of us. And it's a privilege to take your interview. But be on, I'll just call my wife, Jonali. She has interacted with you but never met you. You just hold on. I'll stop the recording.